Hello! Thank you for joining the Hunt Banish Extract podcast, the only podcast where it took us 20 minutes to come up with this intro and we settled on it. So, boys, thank you for joining. I've got myself, El Maestro. I've got my beautiful co-host, Rat.
Hi, guys.
And, of course, without further ado,
Our favorite
Sleepy Weasel.
Asian midget.
Wow.
Yeah, the intros I came up with were better than Rats. Just saying.
Bullshit. Hey.
We just talked about the moon again.
I also said the podcast hosted by more dicks than a gay orgy, so I think that
brother,
one would have been
Come
great.
on. Come on.
Oh no.
This is your job to cut that all out, Rat.
No, it's staying. It's staying.
No. Anyway, well, let's get right into it, boys. What are we taking into the bayou?
I mean, Rat, what are you taking first? Actually, I know you're gonna say Lamat, but don't give that answer.
I actually haven't been taking the Lamat lately.
I don't believe you. Because I played with you not that long ago.
The last few games that I played, I've just been taking two single chain pistols and fanning.
What the?
Yeah. It's hilarious.
How's that been going for you?
It works pretty well, and it's hilarious because I call the loadout we have Avto at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good. It's pretty good.
So literally just the two pistols, like no funny.
Literally just the two pistols, and fanning, because it's funny as hell to completely empty a fanned chain pistol and then them think you're out of ammo, and then they peek around the corner and there's another chain pistol just fanning away at them.
One more chain pistol.
Let me point out how ridiculous this is. A chain pistol has 18 rounds in it.
I know.
So they have 18 rounds that are getting fanned at them every time they peek. They think you're out because it gets quiet for a second. They peek again, another 18 rounds.
18.
That's
more.
36 rounds fired at these sons of bitches.
And we have 18 rounds and
18 more
rounds. What about you, Tyler?
I just, as long as I take long range, I've been getting better with the Vetterli. I still hate that gun, but like I've been unlocking it, like the Cyclone every prestige. Like I've just made that a challenge for myself every prestige now. But honestly, anything with like small ammo, long range, high velo rounds, I'll just take like a marathon usually with an officer for closer range, both with high velo, just for longer range combat with the marathon. You get mad headshots with that thing, so that's been my favorite lately. Small ammo is king. I love small ammo.
Dang.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
I don't know. I'm either shotguns or long ammo lately, honestly.
Yeah, that's like
Get in the basement.
Yeah. Oh, if you guys were wondering where Bard and Kaiser are at, they're actually locked in the basement again.
They're making pop-up cards.
No, they're doing finger paints this time. That's the activities.
Oh, why did I give them scissors and construction paper then?
To finger paint? Oh no, this is a disaster. Hopefully they'll come back within the next 2 weeks. We'll see.
And hopefully with all of the fingers from the sound of it.
Yeah.
Either that or they'll have slightly less fast fingers.
Oh.
Or the fastest fingers.
Well, yeah,
they
one fast finger.
they would have a shorter distance to travel to do stuff. So I mean, maybe they will be faster.
Maybe.
So
I would say what I've been taking, but I haven't played Hunt for at least 2 months. The first time I played it was tonight. And what I took that actually worked was a martini with fast fingers. We're on that topic right now.
Yeah.
And what else did I have? And
You're one of
just
the
a Scott
assholes
Field.
running explosive in that thing, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Nope.
It was just regular ammo.
Because he's a good man who likes to wallbang. Good man.
And I did. I got a wallbang headshot.
You did. I saw that. I was like, hey, look, you can see their gun poking out right here. You just took like a second. It was great.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, so this match that we're referring to, we literally had just done it like not 15 minutes ago. So
We're still riding that high.
Yeah, between the two of us, we got 10 kills, so we feel pretty good about ourselves right now. And hopefully,
right now, Hunt is fun again.
Yeah,
in
hopefully,
that case, Colin, I have a clip for you to see.
Oh, please!
We'll have to check that out later.
Yeah, please share it with me at some point tonight.
Yeah, I am just hoping that everybody who listens has good Hunt matches and that Hunt is fun because we need more people playing.
Yeah, I like it when I have a really good time with Hunt. I've been neglecting it, and I feel bad, but it's it makes it so much sweeter when you come back and you feel like you're going to be rusty, and then you just wipe a lobby.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Really does. I mean, I know that there's been a couple of times I've taken like a 2-week break, and then I come back, and first game I play, I get my shit rocked, but the second game, I get some great kills, and then it's right back to regular 3-star business.
3-star shenanigans. Well, apparently I'm a 5-star man now. I keep dipping back into 5-star. I don't know how the hell that happened because I'm not that good. I just must get lucky. But
I think I might be 4 stars right now.
I hope so, because that was a good match.
Get out.
Listen, I didn't do it of my own volition.
Get out.
Right, you didn't pull the trigger. You didn't aim for their head and snapshot them. You didn't kill the last solo chasing us at the exit.
You're both not allowed to take sacrament at the Church of the Holy 3-Star until you're back to the correct stars.
I've joined a different church.
Get out.
Shout out to all of our 3-star players. It's okay, as long as you're having fun.
I've joined the Church of the Variable MMR.
The Variable MMR.
We've been trying to get those fuckers banned for the last year. They just
So what have you guys been playing? Like in between, because we're talking a lot about taking breaks and stuff right now. I'm actually curious.
I've been playing a lot of Kazan and Dying Light.
Dying Light, interesting.
Dying Light the Beast comes out in like a month or two, so.
Wait, really?
That's crazy.
It's supposed to come out like August 22nd, but it sounds like they just delayed it for 4 weeks, so it'll probably be out the same day as Silent Hill F.
Oh.
And that's
obviously going to take priority. So
yeah.
I'm buying that for my wife, that's for certain. She wants to play that game so bad.
Yeah, me too.
Looks
well, really I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I got right to the very end, and I put in like so many hours into it, and like I'm really close to beating it, like just another hour or two, and I probably will beat it. But it's like I know I'm going to be super depressed after I beat it, so I just held off playing it, and now I'm playing Hunt again.
Okay, well in that case, I now need to ask, which of the Final Fantasy characters in 7 do you simp over the most? I know who I do.
Well, most people simp over Tifa.
Yeah,
I think that's very common. You're one of two people in this world. Like, you're either Aerith or you're Tifa. I'm an Aerith kind of guy. I don't know. I like the wholesome girls. Not that Tifa's not wholesome, but I just really like Aerith. I've always liked her since I was a kid. Yeah, hell yeah. No, Sephiroth, the bad boy.
Oh.
You got a point.
Sephiroth and Final Fantasy VII collab with Hunt Showdown.
No, we don't need a longer katana.
Could you imagine a longer baseball bat too?
Oh my gosh!
Just
imagine somebody walking out with a Sephiroth katana and hitting you from one corner of the map from the opposite corner of the map with that fucking thing.
and
No.
then you become a god and summon a meteor.
Jeez.
Oh man.
Hellfire
Anyways,
bombs become the meta.
yeah.
I've been bouncing back and forth pretty consistently between Clair Obscure Expedition 33, which is phenomenal,
I have not played.
and it's really good. It's really, really good.
I
And
also have not played. So I have to look into that.
it's scratching one of the two itches that I have with RPGs. I go back and forth between like an Elden Ring style, just open world, do whatever you want kind of RPG, and the turn-based RPGs, which is what Clair Obscure is.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Huh.
and it's really, really good. It's a really the combat and the gameplay loop. Oh man, it's so good, and it's rewarding exploration as well. It's just so good. It's so good. And then when I'm not playing that, I'm playing Night Rain.
I still do
Which
not own that as well.
I haven't gotten Night Rain. 'Cause
I can't talk about it with
it feels like it's just it's an Elden Ring hero shooter.
Except it's not. It looks that way, but it isn't. It's simplified Elden Ring, where as in like each of the classes actually are geared toward a specific gameplay style, and leveling up is just really simple
It's like
because you
a
just
fast way to make builds, right?
yeah, pretty much. And then it's it's all about speed, it's all about momentum, and
Two things
knowing
I do
where
not have.
yeah. But
Especially in Hunt.
I've been playing a lot of solo Night Rain, and it is really fun. Like it's hard, but that's exactly what I wanted it to be. It's Elden Ring, but it's Elden Ring that has a lot more replayability because it's like 30-40 minutes at the most for a whole playthrough, and it's just so good. It's so good.
So it's like 2 hunt matches. That's
Yes.
how I tell time now. Is it's just hunt matches.
It depends
So
on
I
how
think you
long
need to see a therapist.
I know.
I think that depends on how long you survive in the hunt match, because 40 minutes is like 6 hunt matches for me.
Well, yeah,
Dang.
because you're blowing yourself up half the time.
No. I don't blow myself up.
Just blow
Mimic
the teammate
blows
that
me
got
up.
you.
Oh man.
That's
But
funny
yeah,
though.
that's what's been occupying me for the past 2 months.
Dude,
Well, 'cause
I'm gonna have the same problem when Dying Light the Beast comes out. The combat in Dying Light is so satisfying.
Well, I think we're getting to the point during this hunt, I guess, event for this battle pass. I think people are starting to finish it up. So I think people are like, you know how people kind of take breaks once they're
Oh,
done
yeah.
with the event and stuff. So we're starting to get a little bit crazier in the matchmaking. There's less people and there's more of the sweats coming out of their caves, and so
Well,
it's been interesting.
You get into one of two camps. Either the people running stupid loadouts to see if they work out, my camp, or the sweats.
Yeah, this is super meta, super duper meta.
All long
This-
ammo.
Hey,
Small ammo reigns supreme.
Hey, I know we were just talking about you, Colin. All good things. All good things.
hey.
Actually, I think medium ammo is still probably my favorite, but I do love small ammo.
Compact
just-
ammo all the way for me, man.
Yeah, I'm just not a big long ammo person. The only gun I really like to take is the Berthier. So it's kind of funny when it comes to long ammo. Have you guys gotten used to the Mako yet? Because I still can't with that thing.
No. No, my main thing with long ammo rifles is it's got to be, for me anyway, single shot. Like the Sparks
Like
or
the
the Martini.
Martini,
I really thrive with those single shots. And same goes for the Springfield. I really thrive with that for some reason. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of there with the Crag, but not nearly as good as with the Sparks or the Martini.
See,
the Crag is
my
pretty
head,
good.
in my head, when it comes to the Mako, it's I could take this gun, but it's long ammo, and I could have this amount of ammo, or I could take a Centennial for the same lever action, have double that amount of ammo, or I could just go with a compact ammo and have 3 times that amount of ammo.
Yeah.
It's because you miss so much.
Yeah, I miss a lot, so I need to have as many second chances as possible.
That makes a lot of sense.
You
That
could just get
explains a
good.
lot. The impossible.
Let me just point this out for you real quick. In Hunt, I have 1,121.7 hours. I have been 3-star all of that time. And you're telling me to get better?
Yes.
Yes.
3-star lobbies too. I've done a lot of those when I first started playing, and like, when I finally started moving up. Those 3-star lobbies, the people in there are sneaky. Like, I feel like you're either in a 3-star lobby or you're in like a high 5, 6-star lobby, and there's no in between except for like the balanced 4-star lobbies. It's kind of crazy. This 3-star lobbies, like, you get everybody running like the silenced Vetterli and stuff. And I mean, I don't really see it very much anymore, but that could be because I got good, as the kids say. But I doubt it. I don't know. I think the meta is one thing that's constantly changing in the game, especially where they add weird shenanigan weapons.
Yes.
Well, I know you, Rat, had like brought up some weird conspiracies that you wanted to talk about in your conspiracy corner.
Yes,
Please educate us.
I have a 5-page essay.
Oh no.
Well, are you just gonna sit there and read it, or no? I'm just kidding.
No. I'll just go over the finer points of it. Now, I will point out that the like big conclusion that I came to at the end of this has already been proven by Hazmat. I didn't get the conspiracy corner done before he did the video, but
well, the good thing about that is people can either check out Hazmat's video, which they should either way, or they can, for those who don't know, like, or don't keep up with the Hunt lore, like, immediately after it's released, can listen to it here and then dive deeper on Hazmat's video afterwards. So I think it's a good time to do it, especially where people are, they're kind of coming down from Hunt because the event's about halfway done now. So
so in the time I was doing the research for this, let me just tell you all the shit that I started digging into about the lore of the Louisiana incident, because I dove into Christian, Muslim, Wiccan, Vodun, Greek theology, along with like Roman and like historical references and like various points of different folklore within all of those groups. And it
because Hunt explores a lot of those.
Yeah, so. and I was trying like so, and I'd like to point out when I wrote this, it was I want to say October or something like that. It was forever ago. And when I wrote it, Hazmat didn't give me any like hints or anything. Like, I didn't talk all of this through with him when I was trying to figure this out. I just got lucky and got a bullseye. But like, I'm just starting off on all of this is like my explanation of why I'd say that Hunt Showdown's not a cowboy or a western game. Like
here
at
we
its
go.
most complex, people see it as like a Western bounty hunter game with zombies in it. But if you look into the lore, you find that it's a lot more complex and strange and really interesting than just a cowboy game with zombies in it. And the definition of Southern Gothic literature is
Oh,
a
here we go.
genre of Southern writing that focuses on the grotesque, contains supernatural elements, but often more realistic and flawed characters and settings. And the genre was inspired by 19th century Gothic writing such as Edgar Allan Poe, Nathaniel Hawthorne, and oftentimes focuses on dark magic, often utilizing voodoo and hoodoo as the focal point, especially when the story finds itself near New Orleans. And
Here's my thing on that though. I think like it's fair to make those assumptions, but if you have to pull out a definition and like dig this deep to like try to find a genre out of this game, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it being a cowboy shooter. You know what I mean?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I was just pointing that out because it's like it shows how multifaceted Hunt Showdown is.
Absolutely.
At its
really
face,
is.
it's just a cowboy game and there's some zombies in it. But then as you dig through all of the lore is the definition of Southern Gothic. It's amazing like how multifaceted the writers were when they were creating the world. And I got like thinking about the story of the game or the Louisiana incident, and it doesn't like unlike the last conspiracy corner I did, it's not revolving around me obsessing over numbers or police badges, and it doesn't revolve around like the locations of new maps or anything to do with the engine update, because I wrote this before the engine update even happened. But I'm trying to understand more about the sculptor as an entity and where it came from, why it's trying to take over Louisiana, and what it's based off of.
So
And,
just to clarify, what you're saying is you've been working on this for a while. I do remember you bringing this up to me like a long time ago.
Yeah, it was forever ago when I started writing this whole thing.
Yeah.
And
I swear to God, if you bring up the vampire thing, I'm just kidding.
No, that is coming up.
Oh
that
God,
is coming up now. Just wait.
Stretch.
Now in the episode we did with Hazmat, he mentioned that hunters get addicted to the warmth that they feel from the clues, and like when they take them. And I got thinking about that because like it's mentioned multiple times in the lore that the bayou was just filled with bugs during the Louisiana incident during 1896, and like all the stuff in the game. And that's why there's bugs just flying around fucking everything. And I got thinking that like all of those bugs and them being specifically mentioned had to have been related to the sculptor. And so I got thinking about it, and it was originally that I was thinking that they were becoming closer to a corpse. And I speculated that to be the cause of why they can't warm themselves. But then I got thinking and thought maybe they're becoming closer to an insect. Because in dark sight, you see the glow of the clues, and like a fire or a light, you get attracted to that light and that warmth.
Right. Like a moth to a flame or whatever.
Yeah, or a mosquito to a light bulb or anything like that. And that maybe the monsters of the plague and the dead zone and the hunters trying to stop the corruption are two sides of the same coin. So the sculptor is actually like when he turns humans into the grunts or the variations of the enemies, he's trying to attempt to seal off the bayous and use the monsters it forms to protect a new hive. Because like the grunts have bugs flowing through their veins, they have maggots in their veins. Hives are filled with bees. The armored are covered in like a hive-like shell, and the meatheads all see in what we know as dark sight, and they're attracted to the light and the warmth of the rifts and clues, just like a bug.
And they've got leeches and maggots coming out of them.
Is that why they always are near the clue?
Yes, they hang out by the clue and they instinctively protect them, because if you take it, that light's gone and that warmth is gone. So that I got thinking about all that, and I was thinking that maybe the more corrupt the the hunters get, like the reason they can't warm themselves and the reason they get paler might actually be them being more like an insect,
which are
instead of
not
being closer.
warm-blooded.
Yeah. And so it's not like that they're not coming closer to being a corpse, they're being closer to being an insect, and so they start getting the instincts of an insect, and they're attracted to and addicted to the light and warmth of the clues.
And just
I-
to add with this too, there's also like that black goo substance that flows with the insects in like the blood and stuff
Yeah.
too. We
yeah,
haven't forgot
it's
about
maggots. Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And
It's
so like they're all literally walking hives.
yeah. But they're still alive. They still have a conscience, a sentient spirit, if you will, inside
Yeah,
of them.
they're effectively locked in their own heads, so they're aware of everything that they're doing,
Yeah.
and they just have to watch themselves commit atrocities.
And they can feel all of their bodies rotting around them, and yeah, it's a pretty brutal version of zombies because it's a lot more. It's zombies are often brought up in like a science fiction aspect. That's cool and all, but I kind of do like this whole mythical version of
Yeah,
them.
it's unique.
Yeah,
and
it is very unique.
and I mean, I can't remember why I changed my mind on that. I still think it's a really cool concept, but I did think better of it, and I started looking into more obscure leads because Sleepy was onto something when he mentioned the Lord of the Flies being the
Yep.
devil referred to in the Bible at one point. And off I went, going on that one line of thought. So I started looking at all the different religions that have been brought up specifically within the lore, and the ones that I saw were Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, Greek, and Vodun, or voodoo, hoodoo, however you want to call it. But the
Pronounce
original
it,
word
yeah.
was Vodun. And beginning with Christianity, the word Beelzebub, the fly god or the Lord of the Flies, was given to the god of the Philistine city of Ekron by the Israelites as a play or corruption of the name Baalzebul, Baal the Prince. And
Mhm. Which is he's also, isn't he a Greek thing too? Baal the Prince.
well, we're more familiar with the Greek variation of the word Beelzebub.
Right.
I can't remember how that became part of like Greek myth, but I do mention it later on, and I'm just trying to look at it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come up later. So sorry, I
Um,
just thought I'd chime in real quick.
Oh,
So,
you're just fine. But some scholars think it might not be a corruption of the name Baalzebul, but rather a name indicating mastery over flies, who are known spreaders of pestilence. And in the lore, it states numerous times, as I said before, that the air was just thick with bugs, and the main sound you hear concerning them are either bees when they attack you, or the sound of like a fly flying into your ear as you trudge through the dread zone. And
Yep.
going back to Baalzebub as like the corrupted version of the word, he was a god whom knowledge of future events was sought by means of the flight of insects. Now this reminds me specifically of Vincent Orsica, the assassin.
Right,
Like,
especially him.
yeah, that like a lot of followers of Beelzebub were known to try and obtain knowledge of the future by watching the flight paths of flies, to the point where many prophets or seers would watch the way that a fly would swarm in order to interpret the will of the gods. And the sculptor is a humanoid shape made up of a massive swarm of insects, and his whole point is obtaining information for the sculptor. And hives give information to other hunters when like they shriek when they get alerted, and then they send bees at you, and bees kind of counted in the whole flight of insects thing. Stalker beetles you use to obtain information about other teams and compounds by watching through their eyes. Like, there was a ton that just reflected Hunt Showdown looking into that.
Right.
Wow.
Right?
So it's like they weren't just like, oh, wouldn't this be a cool idea? They actually were like, hey, a lot of history, like from different religions and all this stuff. When you compare them to each other, they're actually quite similar. Maybe we can do the same thing with Hunt.
Yeah. And
Like
I
if they
mean,
just
I'm
have
not
different names for different things, and different symbolisms and stuff, but they all seem to be coming from like the same like origin or whatever, which I think the Crytek team, the lore writers, have been nailing if this is in fact what has been happening. So, which it sounds like it has been.
And like not all of this is confirmed as something that was actually part of what they did to make the lore the way that it is. Because like almost all of this is just speculation, and I know that at least one of the points in here was absolutely not mentioned. So like I got that confirmed talking with Hazmat when he read this, because he brought this whole 5-page paper to the original lead writer for Hunt Showdown and had him read it.
I did not know he did that. That's actually kind of
That's
awesome.
crazy.
So I know that at least one thing in this is absolutely not it. Specifically when I was looking at pop culture and looking at the book The Lord of the Flies. But I'll get to that shortly. But moving to another area of the world, the Romans believed that Jupiter had mastery over flies, being the fly driver and known for driving flies away and therefore ushering sickness away with them. The Greeks believed that Apollo, the god of medicine, was also thought to have mastery over flies due to the depiction of flies on coins from Delphos that depicted Apollo on one side and flies on the other. And there's
So with that, I thought it wasn't flies with Apollo. I thought it was cicadas.
It kind of goes back and forth, depending on how
depends
old
on
the
who,
coin is.
And depending on who you ask, maybe historian wise.
So yeah, and so in Delphos specifically, there was flies on one side and Apollo on the other, and they also had a depiction of a goat's head on those coins, which represents a pythonic spirit, which is a spirit that's able to foresee future events. And history also points to Apollo as being a god that was referred to as Beelzebub in the Bible, which explains why Ahaziah in the Bible sent messengers outside the land of Israel to seek divine knowledge from Ekron, which may have just been the Israelite word for the city of Delphi. And that was where people were known to travel in order to seek divine knowledge from the oracles of Apollo.
Yeah, we're starting to see a very common repeating pattern here.
Right?
Especially with the insect, especially with future, light, serpents. It's all kind of connected, it's all intertwined.
Yeah, and like this was just me I went down a rabbit hole, found a bunch of interconnected shit in a Adderall fueled duper, and this could all just be complete bullshit. That's why we call it the conspiracy corner.
Yes. This is what we're here for. Like, we're here for the conspiracy. We're having fun going down the rabbit hole, even if there's no pattern there. Because oftentimes that's how it is,
Were you about to say something, Colin?
I was gonna say it's for a rabbit hole. It's got a lot of flies in it.
Right.
Yep. So it's a hive, if you will.
Yeah, it's a we'll call it an anthill instead of a rabbit hole.
There you go.
There you go.
But further branching out, something more prevalent to pop culture that I already brought up earlier, but still keeping a hand on the name Beelzebub, I started looking at the book The Lord of the Flies by William Golding. The beast that the children are all afraid of for a majority of the books is often referred to as a big snake beastie. And snakes have historically referenced the devil, which the name Beelzebub is also referenced. And in that book, when Simon confronts the Lord of the Flies, he does it bathed in green light as the sunlight shone through the vegetation above. And during the Serpent Moon Night event,
green,
the moon bathes the dead zone in green light. I thought it was a reference to this book due to the fact that in that book, the Lord of the Flies is also a severed pig head that's been speared on a sharp stick and stuck to the ground, and it was just covered in flies. And Simon starts hearing voices coming from it. And the butcher is a meathead with a severed pig head sitting on his shoulder, potentially speared on the sharp sticks in his back.
Now, as far as like the other bosses go, there could be other symbolic gestures that they were trying to convey instead of this one. But it is a very interesting connection because they're obviously very prevalent in the game. And then those other connections that you're mentioning, kind of gives evidence to that.
And I've found the exact things that almost every boss target in the game was based on.
So with the bosses, I'm gonna interject just real quick. With all of the bosses, they're obviously a big part of the game. What is the common theme in all of those bosses?
African
something that
mythology.
They all share one thing.
African mythology.
Okay, so is that
all
something you're gonna
based.
get into later,
Yes.
or getting into now?
Yes, I was gonna bring that up. I don't have it written in this specific paper. I have it put it in another document, but they are all based on monsters within African mythology.
Really?
Like there is a monster that is specifically mentioned in African mythology. Fuck, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but it's a one-legged man that stands tall, has a red bird's face that glows when its mouth is open, and walks with a stick.
That's
And
scrappy.
obviously, that's very much Scrapbeak, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like right down to in the lore, Scrapbeak only has one leg.
Yes, and he's got a red face. And
Yeah,
he's a bird.
And like I've got it all written down somewhere. I've got to find it. But yeah, they are all based in West African mythology.
See,
Huh.
that's another
And-
great thing about the Hunt lore. It just there's so much culture involved with it that like it appears surface level at first, but it's really not. It's actually pretty
it's
well thought out.
it is amazing how much thought they put into it, and to use something as like not pop culture, something not super popular that everybody knows about, like everybody knows Greek myth.
Mhm.
They went for like some of the most obscure concepts that they could find using African mythology. Like I would have never thought of doing that.
Yeah, it's definitely unique, which is why you should play the game if you're only listening and you don't play.
Absolutely. And to further emphasize the link between the Butcher and the Lord of the Flies book, aside from just being the severed pig's head that's stuck on a stick, the island that the children are in eventually catches fire, nearly killing all of the kids on the island and also destroying the pig's head. The Butcher's bathed in flames. And immediately after Serpent's Moon was Devil's Moon when they set fire to the bayou.
Right. Now this, like you said earlier, this could be a reference to the book itself, but it does
could
seem
be.
It does appear to be going deeper than that, though.
Yeah, this
By
is the
following
one.
the conspiracy line.
Yeah, this is the one that was specifically said actually had nothing to do with Hunt Showdown, but it is a really cool thing that I noticed. But in The Lord of the Flies, Simon comes to the realization that the basest nature of human life is brutal and unforgiving, and that the real danger never was the beast that all the children had feared, but rather was themselves and their slow descent into madness and savagery, often fighting and killing each other, at one point over resources and paranoia, much like all of the hunters in Louisiana.
Yeah. It's definitely... It just shows you how good both these stories are. They have a lot of similar themes. And obviously, like you said, with the island burning, and then all of a sudden they bring out the fire.
Dude,
I was event. Yeah.
When I was looking through that, I was like, there is no way this isn't a reference. And then Fosse read it and like specifically said that the thing about the Lord of the Flies book had nothing to do with the writing of Hunt Showdown. It was just a cool coincidence.
Yeah. It just shows you great minds think alike. What can I say?
And then like later on, I got thinking, like, due to the link between Ahaziah's story in the Bible and Beelzebub, presumably Apollo, Lynch represents Jehovah in a way, who was against Beelzebub the whole time, hating him more than anything, to the point of letting Ahaziah perish for the simple act of not turning away Beelzebub to worship him, but giving his followers the tools to fight Beelzebub, despite just being just as bad of a choice based on their decision. Like, just, depending on how you look at it,
right?
The whole thing,
it also depends
comes down
on
to perspectives. Yeah, like it comes down to the perspectives of the individual that's in the game or in real life. Like if you look at the story, and you don't really have a bias on either side, they could potentially be just as bad of a choice either way. But I thought that was a pretty cool link that I made there.
Do we
And
know if that one turned out to be true or not? Or not
that
really.
the only one that he specifically pointed out was
Was the Lord of the
absolutely,
Flies.
yeah, it was that one. Like he didn't specifically go through the entire thing, and give him like every single thing that was right or wrong. He was surprised that I got what the sculptor is at the end.
So basically, your long Adderall brained conspiracist self leading you on this trail did end up in the right place, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I wound up in the right place in the end, but it was through a lot of like just grasping at straws and finding cool connections, 90% of which are probably have nothing to do with the game.
But they still led you down the same hole.
Yes,
That's
I
great.
eventually got to the right spot.
Hell yeah.
But then like after that whole bit went completely in a different direction. Started looking at more obscure references, delving into Vodun, more commonly known as voodoo, and the Muslim faith. And on more than one occasion in the lifetime of Hunt, Muslim faith has been mentioned specifically, to the point where the lore states that the Sinners, one of the original, like, I think 5 or 6 factions of Louisiana, were primarily Muslim in faith. Now, the Muslims follow a lunar calendar, and due to the moon being so prevalent in the story thus far, I thought that probably had something to do with the story. And following that line of logic, I noticed that a good amount of Hunt's promotional material tends to focus on bugs, primarily cicadas. And cicadas are thought to know when to emerge based on the phases of the moon and entomology. And there's 2 types of cicada. The first type is the annual cicada that emerges every year, and each brood stays dormant for 2 to 3 years. The other type is called the periodical cicada. These are the ones that were interesting to me because periodical cicadas have extremely synchronized life cycles and either emerge every 13 or 17 years. Going back through the years, I found that the 13-year cicada, known as the common cicada or the ash cicada, ash bloom, emerged in 1894, exactly 1 year before the game takes place.
I think that's a big clue too, because obviously cicadas are very prevalent in the game. You even see
Yes.
them on loading menus and stuff. You see them everywhere.
Yes, and the stalker beetle is based on a cicada.
Yes, it's a mutated cicada.
Now the originally, like, I wrote this before the engine update, and before the engine update, the game was taking place in 1895. Obviously, now it takes place in 1896. But at the time,
that's more because the story is progressing, though.
yes,
more than
but
anything. So
that means that the ash cicada emerged exactly 1 year before the Louisiana incident, or at least before the time that the game was taking place, because the AHA was fighting the sculptor for at least a year before the game takes place. And that means that the sculptor would have begun his influence with that emergence of cicadas, considering that ash bloom is a weather effect. Like, I just felt like that had to have been intentional, that there's an ash cicada and an ash bloom, and the ash cicada is what the stalker beetle was based off of.
I also want to point out something real quick too with the cicadas. A lot of culture seems to depict them as also future seeing because they know when to emerge. So that's probably something that you have already noticed and maybe even touch up on if you haven't already.
I didn't put that in there, but it does circle back to the mastery of flies thing, where they were using insects to see the future.
Right.
And that is one bug that is specifically thought to see the future in some cultures.
Yeah. So I just thought that was very interesting too.
Yeah, at the time of writing this all out, I hadn't thought about that, and I didn't put that in here, so I'm glad you brought it up. But yeah, like that's like it was one of the coolest connections I found in this.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to the connections to various religions, a lot of religious scholars believe that the plague of locusts unleashed upon Egypt was an emergence of ash cicadas. Going back to the Greeks, like cicadas were considered sacred to Apollo, who's been mentioned previously,
Mm-hmm.
due to them being seen as a symbol of rebirth and immortality. And to further drive this point home, in Greek myth, Eos, the goddess of dawn, was cursed by Aphrodite to perpetually be in love and lust, which led her to take on a string of mortal lovers, which included the Trojan prince Tithonus. And Eos was so obsessed with him that she asked Zeus to turn him immortal so they could spend the rest of eternity welcoming mornings together. And Zeus granted that wish, but she forgot to ask for him to give Tithonus eternal youth as well. So he didn't die, but he continued to age until his skin became super loose and like heavy, and his spine curled into a circle, and he outlived his eyes and tongue, so he was no longer able to see or talk. He lived for 100 lifetimes, growing so small and shriveled that he became the first cicada, and causing the reason for the symbolism of rebirth and immortality.
Which Zeus, or in Roman mythology, Jupiter, you were saying that they have like powers over,
They have mastery
flies.
of flies.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting how it turns out that way.
Yeah. And then going even further into that rabbit hole, I realized I hadn't really researched Vodun much, and I started to notice a ton of connections as I continued digging this fucking, at this point, crater. It's a crater. It's not even a rabbit hole. Like, for starters, I think that Mr. Cherry was meant to represent Baron Samedi, who's a deity of West African voodoo, Haitian voodoo, and New Orleans voodoo, and a spirit of death. And he's often depicted wearing a top hat, dark clothing, dark glasses, and a cane. He's a known trickster and a particularly sadistic character who can be consoled by dipping a live black chicken in gasoline and igniting it. And digging even further, I started like reading more and more about their folklore, particularly West African and Haitian. And I came upon some beings that fit too well for me not to bring them up, due to the whole conversation about the Lord of the Flies being like close to connect when it was mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as part of a side note, this is where I'm bringing up the vampire thing. One of the arguments.
I knew it was coming.
One of the arguments used.
Let me just add this. I think Rat added this to further prove a point that this is a Southern Gothic thing. I'm just gonna say that.
At the time I did, but I had to bring it back up because it just proves my point here. So,
proves a strong word for this part.
But one of the arguments used to say that Hunt Showdown is not Southern Gothic or Weird West in genre is the lack of vampires, because that is one thing that's really prevalent in Southern Gothic stories is vampires. But what if I told you that there is in fact a vampire in Hunt Showdown? There's more.
Now I think you're grasping at straws.
No,
I want you to continue.
There is a vampire in Hunt Showdown, and I can prove it.
Okay.
Now there's more to the story than meets the eye, and you can dig as deep as you want, and you may never see it because of how far into like African culture you have to like dig to find it. And I'd been researching for probably 2 weeks at this time, and I was trying to find some kind of connection for voodoo and the creatures found in Hunt Showdown. And despite being able to find some kind of weird ass link for everything in the story or every other area, like I was coming up with next to nothing. Then I read the story of Anansi the spider and realized that I'd been looking in all the wrong places. And I've been digging into religion and looking for connections there. I was digging into the voodoo religion, and I realized I needed to go into folklore. And I started with Louisiana voodoo folklore, which led me to Haitian voodoo, which led me to West African folklore, and that's where I found the Adza. According to Atlas Obscura in West African monster mythology, The Adza is an insectoid source of misfortune. Many historians believe the myth came about from the fear of mosquito-borne illness such as malaria. The monster was said to slip through the keyholes under windows and around doors, flying up to the bodies of sleeping people in the form of mosquitoes, beetles, fireflies, or balls of light, preying on men and women alike and enjoying the blood of children most of all. The Adza is a West African vampire.
But you also have to understand that the term vampire is a pretty new term.
It is.
I mean, with that logic, though, Rat, the chupacabra would also then be a vampire.
Exactly.
It is.
See, when you think of vampire, though, you think of like
a monstrous being that sucks blood to
so
satiate itself.
While I think this is a very interesting connection, I do think the Azda is important to the lore that you're connecting here. I think connecting them to vampires, and this is just where my thing kind of falls off. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but that's okay because we're looking at conspiracies here. I get why you're saying it, but I don't think most people would consider the chupacabra to be a vampire because they consider it a separate monster.
True, but I mean that would be like saying a vampire bat wasn't considered a vampire because it drinks blood.
I mean, mosquitoes aren't considered vampires either.
I call them little flying vampires, little sons of bitches.
I mean, they are, but you know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
But no, these are still very interesting connections, especially with the voodoo lore part.
Yeah.
Because obviously that is a big piece of the lore. There's a lot of blood that is involved with the basis of the game. Like the hunters, they give up their blood. They used to give dark tribute by cutting themselves. I don't know if we have players who had been playing that long where Mr. Sherry in the lore was still alive, and you would actually cut yourself instead of throwing bullets in the thing for dark tribute.
Yeah. Back then, you'd cut your hand. It was a lot more metal.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So yes, blood is extremely prevalent, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but there is like a lot of, I guess you can consider blood magic in voodoo practices. I don't know if that's true. I'm not very educated on that, but it is very prevalent in Hunt, at least. So,
well, for just the sake of this conversation, we'll use the term vampire as a mythical creature,
right?
That or a supernatural being, often reanimated. Yeah, just a supernatural being that preys on the living by drinking blood. We'll use that as the base meaning for the word vampire in this context.
Right, in this context. I'm actually curious, though. You said that there is something in the game, though. This Azda.
There is. The Adza is in the game. We have never seen it. But it is in the game. The Yuva people of West Africa lived in fear of the Adza because legends say that there's no potion, spell, or weapon that can ward one off, and there's no cure for the bitten. The Adza will either drain the person of life or possess them, consigning them to madness or misery, if not both. In the 19th century, roughly the setting of Hunt Showdown after Christian missionaries went from Europe, established colonies of the region, the Adza evolved into a scapegoat for a range of other evils, evolving from its possible original explanation as a story to warn against malaria and other insect-borne diseases, of which the Yuva people felt powerless against at the time. The Adza became another word for the devil, basically. Like, they combined the Yuva and Togan terms for the Adza and combined it with the Christian version of the devil. Adza possession was blamed for like personal or cosmic problems to like the inability to conceive a child after a while. And
which is another thing that's prevalent in this game.
Yes. And as the Yuva people were exposed to the teachings of the missionaries, they chose not to forego their original religion of Vodun, or more commonly voodoo, meaning spirit in Yuva for Christianity. Rather, they combined the two, and due to this, the Adza was just seen as an evil insectoid spirit that fed on the blood of people and caused madness and ill fortune. And the Christian devil, which is also pretty much the same thing. It's like this evil spirit.
Mhm.
And this is where it gets really interesting. In Western culture, throughout history, women have been viewed as more susceptible to evil or more influence from the devil than men. And in
Well,
Yuva culture, the odds
especially
are
going
said,
back with like Adam and Eve and the deal
yeah,
with the devil, the snake thing. I think that's the most common point in Christianity when
yeah.
in terms of that. So, which is very
And
interesting.
and in Yuva culture, the Adza was also said to possess women more frequently than men, which is also why you see so many female grunts.
Well,
That
and obviously all the hives are female.
yeah.
And yeah, so it's definitely there's a connection there for sure.
Yeah, and the connection's seen relatively early on in Hunt's lore, because prior to the discovery of Lynch's inoculum, women who spent any time in the dead zone were practically destined to become hives. They were like, they would just like get twisted, their back would break.
Because their womb's filling with the
Yeah, and
hive mind,
yeah, and
basically.
it would keep them in just constant anguish, which is why they scream. And further delving into Vodun lore, in Louisiana, and Trinidad and like other areas of the Caribbean, there's another creature called the Sokoyant. Um, and I'm bringing that up because they've been showing more and more sailors and like pirate types
Yeah.
appearing in the bayous.
Mhm.
And the Sokoyant is a creature in folklore that appears as a reclusive old woman in the day, but by night they strip off their wrinkled skin, placing it in a mortar, and they fly around in the form of a fireball across the night sky searching for victims. And just like the Adza, they can enter the home of their victim through any sized hole, like a crack or a keyhole. And once inside, they suck the human's blood from their arms, necks, legs, or anywhere else that's like soft and squishy, leaving black and blue marks on their body. And if the Sokoyant draws too much blood, it's believed that they'll either die and become a Sokoyant themselves, or they'll perish entirely, leaving the killer to assume their skin. And those Sokoyants trade their victims' blood for evil powers with Basil, the demon who resides in the silk cotton tree. And to expose the Sokoyant, it's believed that one should heap rice around their house at the village crossroads, and the creature will either be obligated to gather the rice grain by grain and be caught in the act to destroy one. Coarse salt needs to be placed in the mortar with the stripped off skin so that she perishes, unable to put it back on. And Sokoyant skin's considered valuable and is part of black magic. And as time passed, the Sokoyant stopped being described as exclusively an elderly woman. And I bring that up because I think Lynch is a Sokoyant.
Yeah, we still don't really know what she's doing too in the
but
story, so
but either she hunts Sokoyants, gathering the hunt skin, or gathering the cursed skin and trading it to Basil in exchange for his blood to use as an inoculum, or she herself is a Sokoyant, and like the whole ritual where they like skin a man alive and like all that shit.
and create the serum after they kill the demon that's summoned forth. They drink its or they take its blood, which
Yeah,
is
so
a very similar exchange.
and if that's the case, then that would mean Lynch is a Sokoyant who's trying to fight the sculptor who's an Adza. And the sculptor being an Adza was confirmed.
So we know the identity of the villain, basically.
Yeah, the villain is the Adza of Yuva and Togo African folklore. And that's why he's he's driving people insane and possessing them to take over Louisiana.
And with all of these connections, does it in the folklore of the Adza, does it have, besides mosquitoes, does it really have any other connections to, I guess,
So
insects?
it originally was mainly to ward off malaria, but as Christianity combined with it, and he
Right.
Like the concept of the Adza combined with the concept of the devil, who's often called Beelzebub or the Lord of the Flies. It started being that Adzas could turn into any bug or like any type of insect to like corrupt areas or steal souls or drink blood or whatever they wanted. So he can turn into any bug he wants. So if there's bugs present, you're being watched by the sculptor.
Which is also curious because in the lore, I don't remember which part of the lore, but I know Hazmat brought it up on the episode we recorded with him. I don't remember who it was that saw it, but they saw a great eye in the sky looking down.
That was that was the little girl who originally had Princess.
Okay, Raja.
So
For
that
those of
was the
you who
little
don't know.
girl. So that was the little girl as she was crossing into the world of the dead. She saw a giant insectoid eye in the sky.
Insectoid. So, what was the I guess spirit or creature that would trade with I guess in this case Lynch for powers? Like what was that creature called again?
The Sokoyant.
Well, that's what Lynch is, but what was she trading with?
Basil.
Basil. Okay. Does that have any sort of connection to, I guess, the Lord of the Flies too?
I mean, I haven't found anything specifying Basil, but I'm thinking that Mr. Cherry is either supposed to be Basil, who's a demon who resides in a silk
okay.
cotton tree, or he's meant to be what was it called?
Because that's an interesting connection.
Yeah, I think that she had been dealing with Mr. Chari to get the inoculum, which would make him Basil.
or the I guess the recipe for the inoculum. That
Yeah.
way she taught the other hunters how to do it. So
Well,
basically, all the people we're playing as are all freaking murderers. So.
Yeah. And where was it? I had Mr. Chari in here and what I thought he was.
Well, this could be interesting too, because if we don't know for sure, we can always ask, our audience to see what they think. Are we just
that can
spitballing
always be
here,
the
or
poll.
is there something, something concrete here? Because
I
think
would
some
like,
of it is.
I would like to think that I hit the nail on the head more times than I think I actually did.
Well, not only that, you're also cutting out a lot of stuff too.
I am
while digging down this rabbit hole, because I remember it being a lot more complicated.
I am cutting out a ton, and I promise I will put this whole paper into the Discord so that people can read it. I'll put it in the announcements channel because there's a lot in here. I'm skipping over a lot of stuff for sake of time. So if anybody wants to read it, it'll be there. I'm gonna post it after the episode comes out because otherwise everybody's gonna know everything we talk about.
Yeah, we'd rather people listen first.
But
for obvious reasons. So I'm just kidding.
Y'all are gonna have to wait.
Okay, so I think that Mr. Chari is either Basil or he's supposed to represent Baron Samedi, who he's like the spirit of death, and he's always depicted as wearing a top hat and dark clothing and dark glasses and a cane, and he's known as being a trickster and extremely sadistic. Like, he can be consoled when he's angry by dipping a live black chicken in gasoline and lighting it on fire.
That's right. You did mention
so
that.
like so either Mr. Chari is Baron Samedi or he's Basil. That's my guess here.
Or he could be based off of both.
Yeah, or it could be a combination of both
of cultures,
And let me sign into my regular. Oh wait, no, I've got it on my phone. What am I doing? But to bring up the thing that we talked about earlier, about all of the bosses, I don't have all of the bosses figured out yet. There's a couple that I'm still working on. But see if it's in here. Okay, so Rotjaw is based on the Gabali. Now, the Gabali is it's a neo-dinosaurian cryptid that's reported in like the rivers of Liberia, but it's also a really big myth in African mythology as well. And it's considered, or it's called a uh it has the head and body similar to like an early crocodile where it was sprawling rather than supporting from below, and it's allegedly able to walk with its belly off the ground. And they describe it as resembling a crocodile or monitor lizard, and its back is covered in 3 rows of serrated armor with a short snout and large teeth and a huge, powerful tail. And it's reported to ambush its prey from the river and drag the animal or human underwater to be drowned, but eats the prey's carcass on the riverbank. And they're most often seen during the rainy season. And Rotjaw was introduced with rain, and the drowned were introduced with Princess, and it's a giant crocodile.
So I guess a question I have with that, does electricity or lightning have anything to do with that
So
piece of
that is where I was struggling. It was either the Gabali or it was another one. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Where is it? Uh,
I think she's just a crocodile who's super cute.
well, yeah, but there's there's the lightning monster, which is from Zambia, and it's described as an electrified animal hybrid with the foreparts of a goat and the hind parts of a crocodile.
Okay, so
that
that's pretty prevalent then.
and there's like one like the Impundulu, which is the lightning bird, but it doesn't have a crocodile like presence. And there's the Nyami Nyami, which is a creature with the head of a fish, but is often portrayed as a dragon. And it's not like it's not explicitly connected to lightning. But there was a bunch of monsters. There was one that I thought it would be. Fucking this it's gonna piss me off that I can't find it because I had the name. I think it was the Ninki Nanka. That's what it was. So the Ninki Nanka was considered a sea spirit that was a dragon-like creature with the attributes of a devil, and it kept lower Gambians away from fertile swamps, rivers, hills, and creeks because it was known, or it was believed to inhabit swampy forests. And the descriptions like vary across tribes, but most say the animal's reptilian, depicted as having the head of a crocodile with the body of a donkey or a hippopotamus or a giraffe, or sometimes just a large snake. And they account like they say that it's a legendary creature that's 30 feet long in that dwells in the marsh and looks like a crocodile and often has 3 horns, which could be the 3 spikes above its head coming from the cage. And but it's believed to have a fatal stare, which was another thing that kind of made it seem interesting because its eyes glow when it starts raging.
Right.
But it like the Ninki Nanka seems to have too much connected to like Medusa, but they're thought to bring drought or famine, which I mean its appearance in the Louisiana incident could further link it to the Ninki Nanka because it's thought to bring famine.
Right.
But Yeah, they're like I think that the Gabali fits it a little more.
Yeah, I would agree. So
And then Anansi is like the spider is clearly Anansi the spider. It's just described as like a humanoid spider, and they just kind of twisted the concept. And
right.
Scrapbeak is the chemosit. Now, the chemosit is the one that I was talking about earlier. I'm gonna send you guys a picture of the chemosit. Here's the picture I originally found of it, and I just want you to look at this and tell me it's not Scrapbeak.
Yeah, that's scrappy.
It
Yeah.
is, and here's another like artist's interpretation of the chemosit, which I think fits a little better with the game.
Yeah, and obviously, artists' renditions or and things like that. With Hunt, the art design team, they have to take their own creative liberties and stuff like that too. So, but
Yeah.
like with the red glowing eyes and mouth, that's very clearly symbolic with Scrapbeak's head being red. And it's a one-legged. I don't know. It's so
It has
on
one
the nose.
leg. It walks with a stick. It's got a hunched back, like the backpack. It's got a
Wasn't he also
glowing.
Isn't it also supposed to be like a thief too?
I believe so. Let me look at the Chemosit's entry here, and I'll explain to the audience what it actually looks like. So it is a demonic monster that prowls the lands of Nandi in Kenya. It's half man, half bird. It stands on a single leg. I'm gonna ignore the 9 buttocks, but its mouth is red and shines brightly at night like a lamp. Its spear-like stick serves as a means of propulsion and a crutch, like his prosthetic leg. And people are Chemosit's food, but it loves the flesh of children most of all else. Its child killed it. Uh, at night, it sings a song near places where children live, its mouth glowing in the darkness. Um, Now that part, it kind of threw me off because he doesn't really sing so much as he screams in
Right.
game. But like the picture and the description of him, he is straight up just
Yeah, he's
Scrapbeak.
clearly, at the very least, based off of this. So
And I found the like the new bears we have in the game. I found their fucking inspiration. The Nandi
yeah,
bear. So the Nandi bear is a creature that lives in East Africa, and it takes its name from the Nandi people who live in Kenya. And in the area that the Nandi bear is reported to be from, like they have a couple of different names. It's also known as the Chemosit, but like the one that I sent is the one that is specific to this game. And it's described as a ferocious, powerfully built carnivore with high front shoulders, over 4 feet tall, and a sloping back. And it's fierce, nocturnal, stands only on its hind legs, and can kill animals. And it has reddish hair, long feet, and is said to scalp people. And the bear in the game is attracted to blood. And it's literally just a bear that stands really
yeah.
tall, only on its hind legs. And it's like got that reddish brown coloring. It is straight up the bear from Hunt Showdown.
Isn't there a few different types of bears in Hunt? Correct me if I'm wrong.
There was
Like
only the
they
two.
all. Oh, I was gonna say
There was only
they
there was
act the
the
same.
yeah, there was the two-headed bear, and there's the ones we have now that are the children of
Oh,
the
okay.
two-headed bear. But
Okay,
they
I
all
see.
look the same, and they all only stand on their hind legs until they charge you. And they're extremely ferocious. They're powerful. They have high front shoulders and a sloping back. It's the bear from Hunt Showdown.
Yep.
Now, I haven't found the inspiration for uh the butcher specifically, and I haven't found the inspiration for the assassin yet.
Well, you just
But
gotta take more Adderall. So
But my thoughts are that in the lore it says that the sculptor is childlike and can't create something that doesn't already exist in the world. But folklore exists in the world, and if it came from Africa, it's taking things like dead bodies or bugs or a bear, and taking a monster in folklore and corrupting that concept to turn it into a corrupted version of this folklore.
Right. Which obviously is also a big theme, the whole corruption theme.
But I mean, that I might just be crazy. I may have just gone down a rabbit hole and only hit the nail on the head one time with the sculptor being an Adza. But I think I came up with some pretty neat stuff.
Yeah, no, this is a conspiracy corner. We're all having fun with speculation and following that thread, whether the thread means anything is really up to debate and up to the audience. Maybe they're like rolling their eyes the entire time with this episode, but maybe it might get other people thinking. And that's the cool thing about this stuff, because in the Hunt lore, like, just because you killed Scrapbake doesn't mean that like it actually happened, because you could be lying. Like all these hunters, that are in the bayou, it's all word of mouth. Like,
Yeah, it's got the untrustworthy narrator thing going for it that
so
I
like
love.
yeah, so like that kind of mixes with this, and it would be kind of cool if everybody else like put their own interpretations in, and especially we're trying to figure out so much from the bayou with all this stuff going on. So
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll be fun for everybody to kind of speculate on. You can speculate with us or not. You can just roll your eyes. It's cool. I understand. Totally understandable.
Colin, what are your thoughts?
I'm so out of touch because I started playing this game a lot later than all of you guys did, so I never really got into the lore aspect of this. So I'm trying to understand, because as someone who is a total lore junkie, I could tell you just about anything you want to know about Lord of the Rings lore. It's like I try to make sense of what the timeline of everything is, and you're saying that the thing about the cicadas earlier, where
The
they
ash
emerged,
cicadas emerging in 1894.
1894, yeah. So tying that into the lore, what's the timeline of do we have like
So
when the skull? I know that you said everything started happening in 1895.
So before the engine update, the game was taking place in 1895.
Yeah.
The lore begins in 1894. Like the Louisiana incident began in 1894 when that type of cicada started emerging.
Okay. And do we have like with the sculptor? Because you were saying that an organization had been fighting with the sculptor up until the events of the game starting.
The AHA, the people that were running the whole, like the American Hunters Association, the people we play as the lore goes, they had been fighting against the sculptor for a year before the game's events started in 1895. But they didn't have the inoculum, and it took until 1895 for Lynch to bring them the inoculum that anybody could use and go into the bayou without being corrupted.
Right. They could survive, and they can actually do what they were supposed to do.
So they only discovered and started fighting against the sculptor in 1894.
Yeah.
How long has the sculptor been at this game then before they started fighting?
If I remember right, when the grunts and stuff started appearing, they reported it to the AHA, and so they came that same year. So if I remember right, the AHA showed up in Louisiana in like March or April of 1894, or it might have been July, somewhere around there, and the cicadas started emerging in the summer months. And like the sculptor had been dealing with Louisiana for a couple of months before the AHA stepped in, and then the AHA fell apart during that year
because they didn't know
and
what to do.
and in 1895 was when the
Lynch.
games events took place, and
Yeah,
Lynch
Lynch
brought them the
out of
inoculum.
nowhere, just comes out, has this plan in mind that she's not telling anybody, and like has this sudden quote unquote cure to allow people to go into the bayou.
Which we
And
later found out was from them taking a person, cutting out their eyes and their tongue, and drawing like a circle or a pentagram or something on the ground, nailing
to
their
summon a
feet
demon.
and nailing their feet on the inside of the hole and nailing their hands on the outside of the hole, and then skinning them alive, and then using the skin to make a rope, capture a demon, and then they would extract the blood from that demon to make the inoculum.
Which is why we're also kind of super powered. We got dark sight. We can throw things really far. We've got heightened senses and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
And this is if I'm following the lore correctly. It may have been a full year that the sculptor was terrorizing Louisiana before the AHA stepped in, which means that the sculptor arriving in Louisiana would have prompted the cicadas to come out the next year. I don't know, but it all revolves around the cicadas coming out in 1894. And as I said, it could be complete bullshit and have nothing to do with the lore. It was just kind of a link that I found.
Yeah.
That I thought was kind of neat, that like if you go back through the calendars, they did emerge in 1894, which was 1 year before the game's original year.
I mean, that would be really cool if that was the case, because like for this person to just come out of nowhere, for the sculptor to just come out of nowhere and start terrorizing Louisiana, that to me feels
it's too convenient. It means something.
Yeah, but from what like I like that idea of these cicadas that live underground, and they wait every 13 or 17 years. In this case, the ash cicada you said was like a 13-year cicada.
Yeah. Or it was the 13-year, I think.
That would be really cool if that was the case, because that would mean he's been plotting and sort of planting seeds, in this case bugs,
The whole time, yeah.
for years, waiting for this cicada to come out and start doing stuff. Well, and that's cool lore wise if that is the case.
Well, the other neat part about it that explains oh, hi buddy. 1 second.
I hate to make this like a timeline thing, but the way that I need lore given to me is like, okay, I need to know
chronological. Yeah.
Yeah, just like, when did this start? Like, how long has the villain been at it?
Yeah.
Well, this is where I plug Hazmat FTW's channel again, because he actually got the original story for why the sculptor is attacking Louisiana. And I am going to butcher this. I've only watched the video once so far because I haven't had as much time on my hands to just binge lore videos. But the original story was that there was a slave ship, and they had a bunch of slaves from West Africa on the ship. And I can't remember exactly what happened. I think it was a slave uprising or something like that. And they were fighting on the deck of this ship, and the captain grabbed a pregnant woman and threw her overboard. And she drowned, and while she was drowning, she cursed that ship. And the curse brought about the Adza, and that ship docked in Louisiana, which is why the sculptor is in Louisiana.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
He did a whole video on it. I butchered the story of it. I can't exactly remember the details. I probably got a majority of what I just said wrong. But if I remember right, a woman drowned that was thrown off of the ship, and she was on her way to America to be sold as a slave. And while she was drowning, she cursed the men in that ship, or cursed the ship itself, or something like that. And that's what brought about the sculptor. The sculptor followed them into Louisiana, and that's where the ship docked.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. Especially where, I don't know, a lot of this like derives from the African culture that you were saying, which is so interesting to me.
Yeah, I would have never thought of it until I had made all of those connections and remembered that they had specifically mentioned voodoo. Like, one of the original factions was the voodoo community. So when I remembered that, I started looking into that and like the origins and everything like that. And that's what led me down that part of the rabbit hole, which eventually led me to getting something right.
Right.
But
Yeah, it's pretty fun stuff though. Like I
but
said,
before we
I
go,
think people need to speculate with this. I think it'd be really fun.
yeah, and I'll be posting the whole paper into the announcements channel. It's going to be after we get the episode up so that people aren't just like reading through it immediately and then knowing everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
But once it's up there, anybody can read it. It'll be in the announcements, and you guys can speculate and talk about it in one of the channels in the Discord. We have a Discord, guys. If you're not there, come hang out. You'll get a welcome message. It'll be great.
Join us.
But before we go, I'm gonna do comments real quick. We only got one comment on our last episode from Martin. He said, the leveling system could do with an overhaul. Some traits seem silly to be so high, like Vulture when you could get Doctor and Necro at level 1, but don't make them all available at level 1 like guns, because then what's the point of leveling at all? Hot take, but giving every gun at level 1 was a terrible idea. That had a bad effect on the leveling system as a whole.
Not a hot take. Totally valid.
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of mixed discussions with that. It's not necessarily a hot take, but it is something that has been brought up because it didn't used to be that way.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was. Who was it that asked that?
That was Martin.
Okay, so
Kit.
Martin, I don't know, Kit, if you how long you've been playing Hunt, but it did used to be that way. Weapons were level locked.
Yeah. I'm on both sides here. Like, I don't
Yeah.
mind all the weapons being available because, like, all the variants you still have to unlock. So if you want to use a specific variant, you still have to work toward it. But at the same time, like,
I do miss unlocking the ammo.
yeah, I miss unlocking the ammo. That was fun.
Yeah.
And then and anything on that, Colin?
I mean, yeah, I feel like it does need an overhaul. I do agree because leveling does it does feel out of order a lot of the time. At least that's been my experience because I do agree. Like Vulture would be a really good early game trait, whereas things like Fast Fingers and Pack Mule even, or even like Determination and then Dauntless. Those are both level 1, and that's kind of crazy that they are level 1 because of how strong they are. I mean, Bard goes off all the time about how Determination is one of the best traits in the game.
It is a really good trait.
So I agree that things like that should be level 1 or 2 traits rather than at the bottom of the tree.
Yeah.
And so yeah, the skill, the leveling system needs to be overhauled and changed.
All right. And then we had no comments on the YouTube. Check that. Don't worry, Bard. When you're done finger painting, you don't have to worry about that. And then our poll said least favorite melee tool. Dusters got 1 vote for 14%. Knife got 3 votes at 43%.
What?
The knuckle
What?
knife only got 1 vote at 14%, and the heavy knife got 2 votes at 29%. So the knife is the least favorite melee tool in this poll.
That's so crazy. That's the one
Yeah,
I
that-
use the most.
Yeah, like
I-
knuckle knife is my second most, but most of the time it's just the regular knife.
Yeah.
I go nowhere without my knuckle knife.
I would say the one I use the least, not necessarily my least favorite, but just the one I do use the least, is probably the heavy knife.
Yeah, I was gonna
Same.
say heavy knife.
Same, but Bard vouches that the heavy knife is amazing. So
Oh, it's really
those
good
who
against
are
people.
on the those who are on the side of loving the heavy knife, Bard's got your back. I hate that fucking thing.
Oh, I love it.
Um and yeah, so any other thoughts before we close out?
Actually, yes. Are you guys excited for this, like, I guess, pseudo mini event with these hunters coming back? The
Yes.
Legends return.
Oh my god, dude, I'm so excited for the blue bomb
The
lance.
screw. Yeah, it's gonna be so cool. And I don't know. I don't remember these two particular characters' story. I know one's the apprentice and one is the scaled, I believe. I thought they were working against each other. But it seems like in the lore with this, they're working together again. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember. But it is.
What were the two
Um,
again?
I believe it's the apprentice and the scaled.
Oh no, it's the scaled apprentice and the skinned.
The skinned. Thank you. That's
And
accurate.
no, the original lore was that they were working together to hunt down the
The reptilian.
the
or whatever.
reptilian. Like
Yeah.
they wanted to kill the reptilian, even though the reptilian
Okay.
was the one who taught them. So they're just working together again.
Okay, perfect. That clears it up. Because I know that the reptilian was and is still also hunting down his former apprentices as at the same time they're also hunting him down.
Yeah.
Because everybody has different goals for coming into the bayou. Everybody has different plans for the future, which is very interesting.
I think it would be really cool if they put in a variant of Rotjaw. Because
That would be so cool.
when the scaled apprentice and the skinned were originally introduced was when they introduced Princess.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, just go on the hunt page, scroll down till you find Legends Return. Watch the trailer on YouTube. It's pretty cool. It's like a little thing, but it has me a little excited, especially the we can infer from what the future has. Maybe we'll get more variants of our favorite characters. You know, who knows? Pretty exciting news, though.
Indubitably.
Indubitably, indeed. Oh.
All right. Well, if that's all we've got, really quick before we close out, I'd like to thank our honorary hunters. Give me just 1 second to pull that list up. Let's see. Okay. Where?
So if
help
you go
me.
into the honored
Like that.
guests, go into the honored guests channel, and then
Okay.
all of them are listed in honorary hunters. Like everybody in there except
Oh,
for
okay.
us, obviously, is an honored hunter.
Okay, everybody in here except for us.
Yeah, so that includes our mods, Kugi and Sway.
Okay. Okay. So I'll just read off this whole list then.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can cut that part out. So thank you to our honorary hunters: Kugisaki, Sway, Element, Big Monkey CNC, Hans, Mama Bear Streams, Mimic, Penguin, A Cunning Rogue, Blade of Sanjuro, Call Me Roy, Cube, Disfigured, Drake, Glonky Pete, Gobby Free Elf, Gumbo John, Hazmat FTW, Jay Tizzle, Curzair, Kit, Chris, Our Father Gray, Prez, V, and Warfinger. Thank you all so much for your support of our channel. We really appreciate it, and it means the world that you guys enjoy our podcast.
And our Discord.
And our Discord.
Join
It means
now.
a lot too, because every time we do this, the list grows. So it's great.
Just like my welcome message, it grows every time.
It does.
Join now.
Well, thank you again so much for joining us today. And as always,
Stay hunting.
stay hunting, everybody.
Live to fuck the moon another day.
Don't do it. No.
I shouldn't have let you speak. I should have kept going.
Stay hunting, folks.
Stay hunting, everybody. We love you.
Love you. Bye.
Outro commence now.
Outro commences now.
Outro.
Goodness gracious.
Commence outro.
Commence outro.
Setting outro to from phase to kill.